Good Saturday, Piedmont Triad. It's 1 o'clock. I'm News 2 meteorologist Ed Matthews. Want to get you updated on Piedmont weather. Before we talk about our developing tropical system off the east coast of Cuba, let's talk a little bit about today. A little messy out there today. That's the reason we have today's weather impact alert. All day, off and on rain, but as we'll see on radar in just a minute, the showers are not as widespread as they were earlier this morning. I think we can pretty much delete the heavy at times, but again, not looking good for outdoor plans this afternoon, but again, much improved in terms of the coverage of rain. So maybe you'll be able to get some of those outdoor activities in. Look at this, the heavier rain and the steadier rain that we had earlier this morning. Moving on up into Virginia, we have several flash flood warnings there in southern areas of Virginia, right near the North Carolina border. Nothing around Danville and Martinsville and Ridgeway. As a matter of fact, not a whole lot of rain, but we continue to see this stream of moisture moving up through Georgia and into South Carolina and North Carolina. And that moisture is overriding a stalled front, and that's responsible for the cloudy conditions and the off and on rain. But I think it's really going to be pretty light and widely scattered as we head through the afternoon and into the evening hours. And then tomorrow we could potentially turn out dry, but even on Sunday we'll keep a low chance of a scattered shower. Here's the stalled front. The moisture lifts up over the front and creates condensation, the clouds, and of course that creates the rain as well. So again, we're going to keep a low chance of a widely scattered shower in the forecast as we head through the rest of the afternoon and into the overnight period. Of course, we're tracking 2 tropical storms. Haven't talked a lot today about Humberto, but I tell you what, Humberto, with sustained winds of 145 miles per hour, is an important player in what happens with Imelda. Imelda has not formed yet. It is a tropical depression number 9. If it continues to very slowly strengthen either tonight or tomorrow, it's expected to become a tropical storm. But it's very slow in going into that process. As a matter of fact, I think the interaction between tropical depression number 9 and Humberto, that interaction has already started, and I think the more powerful hurricane is kind of pulling a good bit of energy from this system, so it's having a very difficult time getting organized. It's moving off to the northwest at not a very fast pace, only at 6 miles per hour. Sustained winds have been around 35 miles per hour now for over about 12-15 hours, and it's located about 180 miles northwest of the eastern tip of Cuba. Again, tracking slowly off to the northwest at only about 6 miles per hour. Now here is what we're watching very closely, and at this point we are considering this to be a very positive sign. This is where the closed low, the depression, is located right now. We put it in motion. This is the 11 a.m. advisory. The next advisory with an updated forecast track will come at 5 p.m. later today with an intermediate advisory just to show the statistics coming up at 2 p.m. But look at this, and this is what we're very optimistic about, the possibility of this system turning to the east. We think it will become a tropical storm and may become a hurricane somewhere off the Georgia or South Carolina coast. Now, this forecast track and movement of the system suggests that it tracks to the north and it may stall off the South Carolina coast, but it's important that it does stall offshore and not over land. And that's something we're still watching. The jury is still out on this, folks, even though things are looking very improved. Stall out for a while and then start to move again, but when it starts to move again, tracking to the east and weakening down to a tropical storm. Now, if this trend continues, and we got to wait a little bit longer, this change in this flip-flop in the track with the Humberto becoming more of a dominant factor just began late last night, but it's continued through today, and that's very important. But if the trend of an easterly track continues, we're at some point in the future going to have to amend our forecast. We've got rain in the forecast late Monday and on into Tuesday and Wednesday. And of course, we have weather impact alert days for those days as well. What we don't want to do is say, oh man, things are looking a lot better. We can just, take our guard down. That would be a very irresponsible thing to do, quite frankly, in this short time frame. But again, with future updates and updated forecast tracks, if we continue to see the models advertising that turn to the east, we're going to start backing off on impacts to our area. But we don't want to do it now. It would be premature to do it now, and then all of a sudden the models start to turn it back to the north and to the northwest. So we're keeping our guard up for a little while longer. I think if we make any significant changes to the forecast, it probably wouldn't be until later Sunday afternoon as we continue to get more and more updates. But look at the forecast models. This is our ever popular spaghetti model. This is where we have the models superimposed on top of each other. And this is literally a flip-flop from what we've been watching the past several days that would take the storm to the north and to the northwest, and possibly by Tuesday and Wednesday moving inland somewhere over South Carolina, tracking maybe farther north and moving inland over South Carolina. But again, it is looking though the system will move up just off the Georgia, South Carolina coast. Some of the models, look at this. This is kind of new. Maybe turning it quicker. I have no problem with that, and I'm sure you don't either, but just to show you that some of those models are suggesting that. But all of our models, except for a couple, are now turning this system to the east. Great news. But again, it's something we need to watch. We need to get more runs of the models and to see if this is locked in. Now remember, the system is on the eastern tip of Cuba, so it's a great distance away. So this environment over us could certainly change, and that could potentially bring a threat to our area. But here's what's going on. Humberto, with those sustained winds of 165 miles per hour, well offshore, but a very important player in the guidance of where our soon-to-be tropical storm goes. We're talking about this upper level low. It's not dominant at all. As a matter of fact, it's in the process of weakening. So Humberto is taking over, and it's looking more likely that Humberto is going to nudge or pull our system to the east. Good news there, thumbs up for that, but again, we're going to continue to watch things very closely. This may all change, but for the moment, we do have a weather impact alert that begins Monday afternoon and it goes through Tuesday and Wednesday for the possibility of tropical rain, especially if the system would turn off to the northwest and slam into South Carolina or North Carolina. So we're going to keep this intact for a little while longer, and as we continue to build our confidence and look at updated forecast models, we may, and I emphasize may with an explanation point, be able to lower this alert for Monday through Wednesday, or maybe take it down for Monday and just keep Tuesday and Wednesday. It is questionable based on the potential track as to where we would get really much in the way of rain at all. Now, coastal North and South Carolina, a different story. If this thing slows down or stalls off the South Carolina coast, it's going to throw moisture into Charleston, into Myrtle Beach and Wilmington and Jacksonville, and maybe even as far north as Morehead City. So again, those areas are under the gun, even if the system stays offshore. But again, with the system potentially staying offshore, that is certainly encouraging news for our area. So here's what's happened. With the influences of Humberto, the storm has just taken forever to get organized, and that's great. So since it's not well defined as a low pressure center, that means that Humberto is the dominant factor as far as our players that we've been looking at. And also the system's only moving at 6 miles per hour to the northwest. That is giving Humberto more time to be a dominant factor. Nevertheless, we're going to keep an eye on things. And again, if we continue to see these very positive changes in the forecast, we will start cleaning up that forecast for as we go into the new week. And I think we'd all be very grateful and very blessed for that, is sure. Now, for the rest of the day, not much in the way of rain. We didn't see a lot on radar after what we had this morning. So I think we're going to keep the clouds, and we'll say some rain is likely, but I think it's going to be very spotty in nature. Temperatures will be up about 76, a few cracks of sun already in a few spots, so some areas could see some upper 70s. We'll keep a scattered shower, low chance in the forecast. I think that'll be mainly before midnight during the evening hours, otherwise just mostly cloudy. Would be a bit surprised if maybe some fog would develop. I don't have it worded in the forecast, but we'll keep an eye on that for you tomorrow morning. And temperatures will be quite warm and muggy tonight as lows drop into the mid-60s. Tomorrow, not a bad day. We'll keep a small shower chance in the forecast, about a 30 to 40% chance, but I think overall a much improved day. It'll be partly cloudy and temperatures warm into the upper 70s. So if you've got plans outdoors for Sunday, you may be able to get those in. This is our 7-day forecast right now. Stay tuned because we may have an opportunity to clean this up in the near future. We have our weather impact alert for today for the messy weather and the patchy rain. Tomorrow, sun and clouds, low shower chance. And then at the moment, we have our weather impact alert kicking in for Monday afternoon and continuing for Tuesday and Wednesday. And of course, if we are able to take that down at some point in the future, we'll let you know as we get more data. But we will at least keep some chance of rain in the forecast, possibly lowering those probabilities down just a little bit as we go through the week. So I've been very encouraged this morning with the new data that I've been looking at in being a little bit more emphatic in turning the system to the east. We'll continue to get more data, and if this trend continues, we're going to start to clean up that forecast as we go into the new week. We encourage you to stay vigilant. Stay with us here on WFMY News 2 and WFMY Plus, and your forecast team will keep you updated for sure. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a great afternoon.